What is up, people? Half Slap Bacon back with another episode in Bacon's World. I'm just chilling in my cart, guys. Chilling in my cart. So, last episode, we got a whole bunch of the new stuff and things, which is great, because now we can work on farming all those wonderful little things. Because I do have plans, especially for the honey blocks. Oh my god, my new best redstone friend. Since probably the observers, I'd say. Yeah, honey blocks are pretty freaking epic. But today, I think we're gonna start with something a little bit smaller, like a kelp farm to feed my furnaces, so I don't have to run all the way out to the AFK Blaze farm. Who knows if that's even working anymore with all these changes, but it is far off, you know. And just having something auto-generate, even though I have to craft it at the base, is probably a little more convenient. So we're gonna build those today, I think, and hook them up to our super smelter, which is gonna be amazeballs. But the reason I'm here, guys, is because I've been working on this in between episodes, and I think I've got it pretty much fixed, like I said in the last episode. It still gets a little bit of like de-aggro issues every once in a while, but it's not too bad. Usually if I watch it in the beginning and make sure I've got a good run going, it'll stay going for a while. And for now, that's good enough, I think, seeing as this is probably going to break again in 1.16, and we're probably going to need a completely new design, somewhat similar to an Enderman farm, I'm thinking, in 1.17, when they permanently try to destroy these farms, because they're jerks. Anyways, why don't we stop? I'm good with 625 levels, and I'll get cleaned up here and show you guys what the changes I made were. Alright, peeps. I geared back up and I ran away for a little bit to reset the piggies so they're not all angry, so we can briefly discuss the changes here. So you might notice there's iron doors there, or iron trapdoors. That's because our kill chamber, and there's no real good view of this, is there? I mean, I guess from down here, is now too wide. So before, we had our pistons right here and the blocks here, and just 4 pistons, so 2 crushers, and they would alternate as we went back and forth. One would push in, another would retract. So there were always pigmen on one side of each one getting crushed, and one side open for pigmen to fall into. So we basically just had a continuous kill stream, and this would switch them back and forth every time we walked over it, right? Or ran over it with a minecart. So the reason that changed is I noticed when I came to AFK, and this must have changed in 1.14 because it wasn't happening in 1.13, is when that was a one wide chamber, fall chamber, the pigmen would come up here and they would just stand on the edge of that trapdoor or on this block. They wouldn't walk off it when they were chasing me anymore. So they had to have guys come behind them and push them off, right? So I made it too wide so we could have the trapdoors on both sides. And now, well, you can see, even when they're not aggro, they're running off like they should with the trapdoor trick. And that's amazeballs. You'll also notice it's lit up. That's mostly because I couldn't really see very well with the iron doors there, like what kind of volumes I was getting. It's tough to gauge. You can see a pile, but that's about it. So I lit up the floors so I could see. Also, I noticed in the back corners where our bait pigmen were, the guys back there were no longer joining the train and coming forward, and it was just the ones right beside the bait pigmen. So I trimmed the farm on the back end, 3 blocks. I pushed all the bait pigmen forward and cut 3 blocks off the far end of every floor. That took a while, hence why I was doing all this off camera, because you guys have seen enough of me playing with this stuff. They made changes with every frickin' version since 1.8 to how these farms work. It's getting exhausting. And then finally, I had to change, our clock setup running off our activator rails underneath. And I'm sick of making small adjustments, so I went big. Instead of basically a flip-flop that switched back and forth, which is all we had before. We had like a block here and a torch there and a torch there type thing to alternate. But I had to extend it to the other pistons, which is over here. So I put all this complicated redstone stuff and things, machinery in. So now we've got a T flip-flop. When we go over this, this will fire this off, right? This flip-flop will fire this off, but this one will leave the block behind. So it'll send a pulse, but when we come back, it's just going to pull the block down to reset the circuit. So now it only activates once when we go over, not both times when we go back and forth. And the reason for this is as we go over it the first time, it fires into this block, into these repeaters, and you'll notice this one has an extra tick. That's because it runs into this 5 comparator clock here. And at the same time, this bin of repeaters takes the pulse and meets the comparator clock at this wire at the same time due to the delay, so that we get a fade clock instead of just a constant circular pulse running back and forth. So now we get a 5 comparator fade clock. And then that extends further. That clock powers this block. You can see the redstone dust. With 2 tick delays, fires these redstone blocks out. And then both sides are the same after this. It's just for each side of our pistons. And then I've got this beautiful 5 banker repeaters. And I did this so I can have super accurate timing here with how I set my delays. And they run into another 2 comparator clock, which, because it's powered by this sucker, will fade, right? So this will run the 5 comparator fade, and it'll power both these sides, which will power our pistons up top and shut them on 4 tick delays, so it gives us a bit of a delay after these wires activate. Then it'll close the crusher, right? But all that's based on the delay I set here. And then after that fades out, these will fade out, and then these 2 comparator clocks on either side will start to fade out before they finally open back up the pistons. And it's mirrored on either side. And the reason I went 5 here and 2 here is that's exactly the ticks necessary to kill a pigment. It's right down to the tick. And then this is just a timing delay with the 4 ticks there and this. And what I've got it set at is 2112, which, ironically, syncs up with our timing. So when I come over here, it's going to close right when I get here. So that gives enough time for mobs that are chasing me from the upper floors to fall all the way down inside the things. And then I come back and I come over here and I start this one and then come all the way back. And ironically, these doors will open up right around here. And because it's an exact timer, it doesn't matter if we get a lag spike. It'll wait till it kills the guys in the chute. So I could be here, or here, or here based on lag spike, and the timing of me hitting that doesn't matter. But it is timed to open up right around here, these 2 blocks. So that all the pigmen that followed me and grouped up in there while I was over there will drop just before I enter this. And then of course it stays open until I get all the way back up here before it finally closes, giving them time to drop, so we get maximum kill stuff and things. And it works pretty good so far, I'd say, based on my levels. The big thing is the extension on all those repeaters gives me the ability to adjust that if I find it works better with more or less delay, like changing when these open and close, so I don't have to adjust these anymore, and that kind of stuff. But that's enough of this. Let's go down to the base and see what we're working on. Home sweet home, which I've still got a lot of repairing to do. But, guys, here's what I've collected so far out of, like, the 1.13-ish stuff that we haven't worked on yet. So we'll get to, like, the sea pickle farm. And, what did I say we wanted the seagrass for? Oh, yeah, turtle farm. I forget where I put my eggs. They're probably in a chest. Yeah, I think I left them in a chest. But I collected these from the Wandering Trader, so even though we haven't found a warm ocean biome for me to mine these from, we've got enough to start a sea pickle farm, I think, which is great. And then we've got the kelp, which is going to be our focus for today, but I'm going to leave this in here because I'm going to need inventory room. So, I had mentioned that I was working on this a little bit, right? Off camera, getting it ready for this episode. What's changed, guys? Well, for those that look close, there's buttons here. There is a method to the buttons. And there's now chesticles here. You can see they're empty. Yes. But we're going to fill them up, guys. That's going to be where our cooked kelp is going to go. So, I've made some adjustments back here, and this is set up. I don't think I'm going to leave the smoker there. This is just for looks, because you can see it from behind the chest, and you know, guys, I'm picky about that stuff. But there's our double chest. I might just run a hopper through the wall. I'm not sure yet. I was thinking, because we've got this high ceiling, I could just put a kelp farm on either side here, because I know there's plenty of room behind the wall. And this has to come out. That's no good to us anymore. We've got the automated. But I was also thinking I could just as easily put it back here, yeah? Maybe even raise the roof on this a little bit. I don't think, if I remember correctly, there's nothing but cave above here. So I'm going to have to, like, go hunting through the caves and see if it's cave that I plan to use for a build or not. But you'll also notice I got rid of the dropper elevators and the water streams and switched this over to mine carts here. The button there just leads over this line, and it comes here as well as up here. And what these two do is if there's anything left in the mine carts, it'll send this one up on a delay and give it enough time to fill the one up there, and then it'll send that one. So I can clear them out just in case there's any stuff left over. But it'll come over this guy, and this will extend that, and then that on a delay will hold it as long as there's items that this comparator is detecting. So it'll come up here and it'll stay on this rail until it's empty and then come back. This is a super easy way of doing this, guys. I don't think I've ever shown that on camera before, but little pro tip. Really simple wiring and really compact. But you can see this is all empty. And one of the issues I found with the water streams is we just weren't getting the stuff in here fast enough. And the furnaces would have like 1 or 2 items ahead at most. So now that's on a hopper. And because this is less than a block, this hopper can pull from that hopper minecart, right? So we got hopper minecart to hopper minecart to hopper minecart, which means that thing empties into this super fast, which means that is now capable, because it loads so fast, even though this is set to go after like that has a stack less. I think it's like 41 items, 47 items is what 3 off a comparator is from a hopper minecart. It loads so fast, it'll go with multiple stacks now. So it'll fill these up in no time, which means we always end up with an excess. And then this guy, I changed this as well with our comparator out. Again, I use signal strength. So basically, these have to be full before they were at like 23 items. And that's in preparation for the kelp, because we're going to have tons of that stuff. And then this minecart's pretty much the same, except the timing over there right now. Basically, this will just keep running if that end has less than 64 items in it, which means it'll basically keep all these full at all times. So we'll be rocking once we get the kelp farm going. And there's basically, I got rid of the chest. There's like basically no reserves left other than what's in the hopper here. So we're pretty much ready to rock. Then on this side, instead of having the storage chest up there, I did the same thing with the hopper minecart. Our storage chest is now the one inside there. And then same thing over here, stacking a bit, and it'll go unload. Exact same wiring as the other side, basically, for this going and then staying up there till it's empty. All right, guys, so I've decided to put these inside the redstone room for the smelter. Reason being, one, while it is a kelp farm technically, it's really a fuel farm for the smelter, right? That's kind of what we're making here. Also, I checked the length, and on either wall, there's 23 blocks of length. So we can easily get like a 15 or 16 long kelp area, no problem. And by raising this roof here, I'm going to give us lots of room up top here to have the farm feed with a water stream into some double chests for storage for the raw kelp or plain kelp, and then into a smoker, and then into a couple double chests of storage for the dried kelp. And that'll be before it even goes down into the chest that we see inside the smelter room, right? Okay, we are much later, as you can tell by my levels. I had to go repair some picks. And I wasn't, when these first came out, thinking I was going to like these things, but I'm definitely a fan, just because they are dirt cheap, and it's good for stuff like this. The reason I wasn't a fan is because of that. Having to do that every so often. And I was thinking about, you know, slime blocks and other blocks, dirt, etc. You can just go right across unlimited, right? But that actually gives you lots of areas where you can get back up and down, which does kind of make this efficient. So, yeah, I think scaffolding might be one of my new favorite blocks. And it took me forever to figure that out, which is sad. But here we are. So, in case you hadn't noticed, I picked out a color scheme. I went into creative while I was doing the AFK to repair picks and stuff. And found out that kelp doesn't look good with very many blocks at all. It's hard to get a working color palette. So, these are still buggy. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Maybe not buggy. Apparently you can't put them on top of redstone. Or you can and they're not there. I'm confused. Can I? No, it won't let me. So that's an... What is going on here? Some voodoo magic? What? What is happening right now? I don't know. Okay, there we go. Now... I don't know what's happening. I'm confused. Anyways, I went with the blue and the nether brick because we already have nether brick in this room and it looks good. And we basically, you're stuck with blue glass. That's kind of just what your option is. So it won't connect here then, huh? No, it will not. Aha! Suck it, game! I know your tricks. So, yeah, I did the concrete generator thing. We're gonna have to build a concrete room. Like, straight out. Just because I don't like crafting it. I always just start by crafting a few pieces. Like, I used a ton of lapis for this. I always get a few pieces done and then realize that it's just more efficient to go to the duper and dupe it up, which usually ends up leaving me with chests full of the stuff that I'm not going to use till a later date. So I don't think we need to start storing them in our storage room. What we probably need is a separate storage area by the duper. Oh no, mobs can spawn on these? That's not good. You guys. Suck it. Yep. Definitely much easier for doing this. Definitely a fan of the scaffolding. Didn't think I was gonna be. There's definitely situations where just using regular blocks that are easy to break, like dirt or slime, is better. But for doing like smaller interiors like this and stuff, really, really good. And probably really good for like outdoors getting up super high too. It's probably totally worth it. As long as, you know, the massive area you're working with isn't going to require 78 blocks of scaffolding. You could always use the scaffolding to get up and then a regular block to do the cross across. That would probably be the most optimal. Just means another inventory spot taken up though. Why is everything a slime chunk? Alright, so taking down the roof on the roof. I think in this section, all this, I might replace it with a red nether brick just cuz. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And this here is kind of useless now because it's not going to make that any brighter anymore, which kind of sucks. I miss that. That also means I have some other areas where I've used those that we lose that advantage, which just sucks. It was fun. I guess I get why they considered it a bug and took it away, but it sucks. You know, you always think something like this is gonna be a small job, and then you realize you've blown through your third pick, and you're gonna have to go make more concrete. That's okay. I've got yet another shulker of stone I can shove through the TNT blast chamber to make more cobble. So, I forgot to mention, I took this back way too far for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking when I did my account, but now I get to fill a bunch of walls in, which is just great, because, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do with my day. Alright, so I got the walls prepped. Now all we gotta do is get the kelp and stuff in, so yeah, good times. Pretty good times. So I think we'll start on this side. You can see I've already got a water stream in there. I've got to get the ice and stuff and the glass over here, but first priority, I think, is getting the kelp in. Maybe I need glass. That's supposed to be glass, Bacon. Quit being an idiot. Let's try this again and see if we can get it done properly. Aha! Yes. Suck it, game. I know what I'm doing. I wasn't born last night. Well, okay. Maybe I was. Leave me alone. And then one down there. Fill this back up so we can do the other side. And then all we need to do is just plant these. And they won't go anywhere until we get to the top and we drop another water stream down. Okay, up top, so layer of blocks there, and then we've just gotta put these here, and then we'll stop at a block and let the water flow over, hit this, it'll drop down into the stream. Nice and easy peasy, beautiful cover girl. Alright, got that side done. Now just for this side, and since we need to detect when they grow up this fall, we're gonna go 4 of these. Don't need one every single one. Odds are one of these 4 is gonna grow. We could go every single one, have it go off more often, But like I said, I'd rather have it go off less off. So then we do need to come back with the redstone kit and wire this in. Okay. Last of the redstone stuff and things. Get up here and just lay some lanterns so it's not super dark up top, because that looks, weird and stuff. And then let's get our redstone line in. And then I still got more decorating to do, but we can get the water going. Oh yeah. Alright, putting the last of the ice in for the water stream so that we can connect it up to our beautiful smokers. That should do it. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah. Haha. Brilliant. So now those are ready to extend, so I gotta find those stuff and things so we can bring them in. But I think, more importantly, what we gotta do is get these going so that they can be a growing. Okay, I got it all figured out because I'm not an idiot. All we need to do is go like that, and that creates a source block. And then we can go like that, right? And then we can go to the top and fill it in pretty much. Look, it's growing. It's so beautiful. It's started. It's amazing. So, now we gotta get this bad boy plumbed in, and I've decided, since we put that double, and we're gonna put storage up top, rather than have this too wide down here, I can just run it right up the wall, right? That makes more sense, don't you think? Yeah, we'll do it that way. All right, guys, I think I figured it out. I figured it out. So I just got rid of the lantern. No issue with it locking our hoppers or anything if it's not there with the lever powering it, right? So yeah, the new lamps look good there. I'm good with that. We might actually replace a lot of lanterns in the base with those, but ready to see the rest of it? Ka-chow! Yeah, so here we go. There's our smelter right there. You can see there's the hopper or smelter. Smoker. It's called the smoker bacon. And our chesticles with the stuff coming in. And while I was working on this, I had a couple shulkers full of kelp that I had grabbed, so I ran that through. So each side is stacked up 2.5 roughly. Yeah. So this just wraps right around, goes right in. I figured that was probably the best way to do it since we had that out there. And then, this opens up here. We still got room to get it underneath there and through there if we want to. And of course our redstone room access, just in case, which I think that's fine without a door. It can stay as is. And then, I don't know if I showed those or not, but I added those. And I actually went back up and added some sea lanterns and some glass up top. It's above where the water stream is, so you can't really see it from here, right? So it's kind of invisible and just gives light. I like that. It's good. It's good. Yeah. So, up top. I finished the waterways off and threw some lanterns above them along the way just to give some lighting. Tossed in some lighting up here. And then this just goes down. Chests to cut back hoppers. And also extra storage for the uncooked stuff, because eventually this is going to build up, right? I don't smelt that often. So, yeah, I tend to do large batches, and that's it. Inside the wall, I just use barrels, so I didn't have to worry about, covering them with blocks or whatever. And then I added a door. Oh, I put some lamps over here as well. I forgot to mention that. Just to bounce a little bit of lighting. Added some lights at the bottom there, in behind. Some floor glowstone. just to light up the floor a little bit. And then out here, this door brings us out here just in case we want to check and see where we're at. This is the hopper that goes into the smoker. And there's backup chest and barrel, right? So we're good. Both sides, we can check the status easily from here. And if I want to AFK, this makes a great AFK spot. So, now we just got to stock it up. And what I think I'm going to do, guys, is I got to get some villagers over to the ocean monument and clean up the ones that spawn. And build some storage there and a roof for the villagers and that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking I'll probably do that off camera, guys. I'll get all that stuff and things done and probably periodically grab some kelp. I'm also out of, what do you call them? The sea lantern stuff and things. Yeah, we're down to like our last double chest. Can you believe it? It's crazy, right? So I got an AFK there anyways, so probably do a whole bunch of off-camera stuff over there, build up the kelp here when I run back and forth, and yeah, then we'll have this stocked up and ready to rock. It looks good though, actually. It looks better than I thought it was going to turn out. So, as always, guys, smash that like if you enjoyed the episode to help others like yourself might enjoy the content on the channel. If you're new and you haven't already, hit that sub button for more videos, people. Thanks for watching. Bye.